Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's yoga class is all about lightening your load, letting go of what no longer serves you physically and mentally. On a physical level, you're going to feel quite a bit of work into the shoulders, the hips, and the legs. On the mental side, that's up to you. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and ease your way into child pose at any time should you need a timeout. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing towards the bottom end of the mat. Square up your feet and soften your knees. Take a big breath in and float your hands overhead, reaching for the ceiling, stretching into the lower belly area. On an exhale, fold forward, think chest and knees, long dangly arms in a really soft wood chopping motion. You're going to repeat that. Big breath in. Exhale, come down. Do that a few more times. Finding a steady rhythm of your own. Taking a nice big breath in as you stretch overhead, feeling that stretch into the legs and the lower belly. Exhale as you come down, let go of the tension in your shoulders. Let's do that one more time. As you complete the last one, you're going to ease your way into a little toe breaker stretch. Make your way down onto the knees. Tuck your toes under behind you and then reach back and check that all 5 toes on each side are connected to the floor. Sit back on the heels. If this feels really uncomfortable, you can just give me a high kneeling position. I want you to be just a little bit uncomfortable for this one. Sit back. Place the back of your hands on your thighs. Spine nice and tall. Tuck your tailbone under. Pull your belly button in. Close your eyes and take your focus in. Set an intention or a sankalpa for this class to dig deep and find what it is that no longer serves you in your life. Your intention is to let go of one thing today. What that thing is going to be up to you. Gently flutter open your eyes and come into a high kneeling frame, reaching overhead with your hands. And on an exhale, sit back into your heels, opening up the arms into a little cactus shape, and then squeeze the 2 shoulder blades together. Big breath in. Reach overhead. Exhale, sit back, crack that walnut between your 2 shoulders. You're going to run or you're going to move into a little flowing motion, reaching overhead. Exhaling to sit back and crack that walnut between your 2 shoulders. Find a steady rhythm of your own. Inhaling as you come into a high kneel, exhaling to sit back into your little toe breaker stretch. Open up the arms into a nice little cactus frame and squeeze that walnut between the 2 shoulders. Last one. Release the feet out from underneath you, bridges of the feet softly connecting to the mat, and sit back, inverting the hands and placing the hands palms down on the mat. Then creep your hands forward as far as you can, feeling a nice little stretch into the wrists and the forearms. Gently bump all the weight to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bump it to the right. You're going to gently play with that sideways lean, side to side. Feeling for those little tension spots in the wrists, up through the forearms. Keep the belly button softly pulled into center as you play. Last one. Come into a high kneeling frame and take those wrists up to the ceiling and down. Just painting an up and down pattern through the wrists, almost as if you were painting the wall in front of you. If that feels good, maybe try sideways and back to the middle, sideways and back to the middle. Just releasing those wrists. You can even do a little combination, giving me up, down, to the side, together. Up, down, to the side, together. Keep a nice kneeling frame, nice high frame. Feel that little stretch along the top of your thighs and into the lower belly area. And then stop with the arms long and lengthened at your side. Think of that Kundalini work that we did last week. You're going to briskly bring the shoulders up and drop them away with a nice little audible breath pattern. Nice long exhale. On your last one, take a step forward on the right leg, knee and ankle in a nice long line. Place both hands behind your knee and push the thigh away, thinking of almost growing your crown up towards the ceiling, and feel that delicious stretch up the back leg. Let's change sides. Step forward on the left, find your stack. Make sure it's not on the knee joint, just behind. Push away and lengthen through your crown. Ease your way from here into a 4-point kneeling frame and set up a gentle cat-cow. Make sure that your hands are stacking underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Exhale to round up. Inhale to change the curve of your spine, taking your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling. Just use a rolling motion between the two today, giving me a 1-to-1 on the inhalation to exhalation ratio. Let's do one more. As you complete the last one, come to a neutral spine position and start tracing a big circular pattern through the body. Almost bumping your hips back to the side, forwards and to the side, tracing a huge circle through the trunk. Then come to stillness along the midline. Bring your right knee out to the side and trace a big circular pattern, keeping that knee bent. Give me 5 revolutions in one direction, trying to keep a nice tabletop line through the trunk. Belly button pulled in, and then change it up and trace 5 circles in the opposite direction. The diameter of the circle is up to you. Maybe using the circumference of a soccer ball or a basketball as your guideline. Once you've traced in each direction, come back to your cat-cow, exhaling to round out. Inhaling to come through neutral spine, taking your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling, and then rolling dynamically through the two, playing with that shape in the spine and giving me a 1-to-1 on the inhalation to exhalation ratio. Let's do one more, then we'll find our way into a neutral spine position, nice and long through the spine, and start tracing an anti-clockwise circle this time. Bringing the weight forward over the wrist and then bumping it back into the bum, keeping that spine nice and long, keeping your belly button pulled into center. Ease your way to neutral. Bring the left knee out to the side, almost in a little fire hydrant-like move, and then start tracing a circular pattern in one direction, trying to keep the weight bearing equal on your 3 points of contact on the mat. So maybe opening up the hands a little bit wider if you need to, so that you're not leaning all of the weight into one arm. Change the direction and trace your circular release in the opposite direction, keeping the belly button pulled in and the spine nice and long. Ease your way back to neutral. We're coming into puppy. Try to keep the stack of your hips over your knees. Extend the arms out in front, dropping your trunk down to the floor as if you were trying to get your chin and your chest connected to the floor. You're looking off the front of the mat between the two hands, piking the bum up nice and high and allowing your lower belly to come close to the top of your thighs. Then drag your weight forward, setting yourself up on the belly, hands alongside your body, fingertips just in front of your shoulder line. Drop the shoulders away from your ears, push up into a little cobra, And then take it into a spontaneous cobra, giving me a little shrug and a release through the shoulders. Playing 5 times to one side, and then changing it up and taking your shrug to the other side. Just dropping the shoulders away from your ears, almost in a soft little snake undulating motion. Get rid of all that tension. Push back from here into child pose. Arms long and extended on the mat in front of you. Almost creeping back through the hands, dropping your bum bones back as far as you can towards your heels and taking a delicious stretch here. From extended child, keep your forehead gently on the mat and creep both hands off center to the left, stopping when your right arm frames the head. Push into both palms, bump your weight into the right hip and hold that slightly off center stretch. Come onto the tips of your fingers, creep back towards the midline, and then feed all the way through to the right, stopping when the left arm is flush against the head. Push into both palms, sink the weight of your bum bones back, bumping the hips slightly off center to the left. Come back onto the tips of your fingers and ease your way back to the center line. Looking off the front of your mat, almost dragging the weight forward, coming through 4-point kneeling, finding your way into a gentle, spontaneous down dog, giving me a soft, almost playful rotational movement through the knees and the hips. Then walk your way forward to the front of the mat. Feet are more or less stacking in parallel underneath your hips. I want you to gently interlace the hands, making a little basket, and place that basket behind your head in a surrender-like fashion. Push down with the hands and resist with the back of your head so that you feel an awesome little stretch. And you're just hanging here, maybe gently rocking the weight back and forth on the balls and the heels of your feet, and keep pushing through the palms and resisting with the back of your head, feeling that beautiful release into the back of your neck. Elbows are nice and heavy to the floor. Then soften through the knees, arms long and dangly at your side, ragdoll sway side to side, belly button softly pulled into center. Big breath in, float your hands overhead, on an exhale, a little wood chop as you come down. One more time, big breath in. From here, gently place your hands on the mat and step back into your down dog frame. Finding your spontaneous dog one more time, taking that soft, playful, rotational movement into the knees and the hips. And then settling into your down dog stretch. Check that your hands are more or less shoulder width apart, feet hip width distance apart, almost nodding the head through the hands as if you wanted to bring your nose closer towards your knees. Hold the stretch or play with a gentle pistoning-like movement by bending the knees as if you were coming through 4-point kneeling, hovering your knees just off the floor and then pushing back into your down dog. Make it a soft, almost undulating movement. Think of a piston. Sync your movement to your breath. At any time, easing your way into child pose if you need a timeout. Hold your down dog frame. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, reach the right arm through, almost reaching past your left ankle, maybe rotating the hand in, grabbing hold of the ankle and looking through, almost threading the head through to peek underneath that left armpit, gently peeking up to the ceiling, pulling your belly button into center. Ease your way back to the center line, finding down dog or child, and then playing with that little pistoning movement again, bending the knees, hovering them just off the floor before pushing back the weight into the bum and finding your way back to down dog. Make it a soft, almost gentle meditation, and then ease your way back to your down dog. Find your frame, reach through, opposite hand to leg, thread through, with the left arm, reaching hold of your ankle, if that's within your range of motion, or maybe grasping higher up the chain of the leg. Ease your way back to your down dog. Take it into blissful dog, bending through the knees and the hips. Find your down dog frame, and then soften the right leg, kick it up behind you into a three-legged dog, and swing the leg through to the inside of the right arm. If the leg gets stuck on the mat, just gently corral that limb forward into a soft lunge line, making sure you've got knee over ankle. Release the back knee, release the back foot. Peel up into a little crescent lunge and find that stack of one arm on top, one hand, on top of the other, and push away just behind the knee joint, lengthening through your crown. So we're not leaning forward, we're almost pushing back and up towards the ceiling. Find that beautiful stretch into the back hip flexor and quad. And then see if you can interlace the hands behind your back, making a little fist. Push the fist away from you, squeezing the two shoulder blades as close together as you can and expanding through the chest. Keep lengthening the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And then extend the front leg. You can keep that leg, back leg, soft and relaxed, or you can tuck the toes under if you prefer. Totally up to you. And then think nose to knee as you find your modified monkey god, Ardha Hanumanasana. Keep extending that lead leg. Try to keep the hands interlaced behind your back. Ease your way back into your original lunge line, tucking the back toes under, and see if you can bring the back knee up off the floor. Don't lean forward. Push back. Almost use your knuckles. Pretend somebody had grabbed hold of your fist and was pulling the whole fisted hand back as if you wanted to tap your knuckles to the wall behind you. Then uninterlace the hands. Frame your lead leg. We're coming into a pigeon line. You're going to bend the lead leg, dropping the shin to the floor, either squaring up the knee and the ankle in a straight line or bringing the whole limb in closer towards your perineum. Find the angle that works for you. Relax the back knee, relax the back foot. Slide, creep, or walk the leg away from you and come into a high pigeon frame on the mat. Check that your lead leg, the knee of the lead leg, is either in line with your hip or slightly wider than your hip, so that you've got a nice bracketing frame on the mat. Creep your hands back. If it feels really uncomfortable and you can't find your way to leveling out the hips and the shoulders, you could perhaps reach for a block or a book and then place the knife edge portion of your prop just where your bum crease is on the right and lean gently into your prop for support. Find your frame, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through the spine. See if you can float the hands behind you. Think Titanic. If that feels good, interlace the hands, make a little fist, draw the fist together so the palms come flush together and you're trying to white knuckle that wall behind you as you expand laterally through the chest. If your balance is there and this feels good and you'd like to take it to the next level, you can try to come into a little king pigeon stretch. Maybe find placement on the mat with your hands first. Bend the back leg and then reach around trying to grab hold of the foot. Bring the two hands together again. So almost think of interlacing them and making a little basket either around your ankle or the bridge of your foot. And then kick the foot into your basket, almost leaning the weight back, and feel that delicious stretch up the hip flexor and the quad of the back leg. Hold your stretch. Then gently unbind. We're coming into a modified up dog. Try to keep the back leg long and lengthened, or you can tuck the toe under if you prefer. Walk both legs out, pushing off the palms and the bridges of your feet. Core is beautifully braced. Then keeping your core braced, bend the elbows, modify chaturanga, find your way all the way down onto the belly and come straight into an extended locust, almost hollowing out your back, extending through the fingertips and the toes, and then play dynamically between your locust line and your up dog. Pushing up, pausing here for a couple of seconds, bending through the elbows and coming straight into your hollowed out shape. Maybe shooting for 5 gentle repetitions, nice and strong as you come up into your up dog. Don't collapse and hang on the frame. Playing with your breath, make sure that you're not holding onto the breath, trying to let go of the tension on your exhale. Let's do one more. On your next up dog, tuck your toes under, floating into a down dog frame, or kick back in child pose. Take the movement into blissful dog, Svananda, playing with that soft rotational release through the hips and the knees. Then still your down dog, kick up into a 3-legged dog on the left. Think knee to nose as you lunge forward, left leg to the inside of the left hand. Relax your back knee, relax your back foot. Peel up, find your hand stack and push the lead leg away. Lengthening the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Feel that stretch into the lower belly, into the hip flexors and the back thigh. Then float the hands behind you, either keeping the feet or the back foot soft and relaxed or tucking the toe under. Think of that toe breaker stretch that we played with in the beginning of the class. Keep knuckling the wall behind you, floating the elbows and the shoulders together and expanding laterally through the chest. Then fold forward, extending the front leg, toes looking up to the ceiling, thinking nose to knee, almost rounding out into a soft little cat-like stretch. We're coming into a high kneeling lunge from here, keeping the back toes tucked under if you can. Bring the knee up off the floor. Don't lean forward, push back. Think of using those knuckles to push the wall behind you away. Keep trying to float the 2 elbows and the shoulders closer together and expand laterally through your chest. Then unbind, place the fingertips on the floor and set up your pigeon line, finding the angle on the lead leg that works for you. Relax the back leg, slide, creep, or walk the leg away and come into a high pigeon frame, using the block if you need to as a little wedge underneath your bottom if you need it. Find your line. Stay here or fist the hands behind you. Think of knuckling that wall. If this feels good, stay, or perhaps try your little kingfish, bending the back leg, trying to make a little basket with the hands and feeding your foot into the basket and then kicking the foot into the basket. Feeling that engagement and that stretch of the back leg. Keep kicking the foot away from you and keep using that basket around the foot. Give me a few more breaths here and we'll ease our way into up dog and play with the up dog and that little extended locust line. Ease your way onto the palms. Feed your block out if it was there. Legs long and lengthened behind you. Toes tucked under or feet relaxed into the floor. Bend through the elbows. Think modified chaturanga. Hollow out through your back as you reach through the fingertips and the toes, resting on the hip bones. Then ease your way back into your up dog and play dynamically between the up dog and your little locust frame, extending through the fingertips and the toes. Make sure that you're nice and strong through the core and not collapsing when you're in your up dog frame. Bend through the elbows, bring yourself down with control. Using soft knees if you need to as you come down from your up dog. So if you need to, drape the legs on the floor, but strong through the core as you come down. Let's do one more. Then from your last up dog, you're going to ease your way into down dog, move through the knees and the hips in blissful dog, and then walk your feet forward towards your hands. Feet stacking softly in parallel underneath your hips. You're going to interlace your hands, make that little basket behind your head. Surrender-like fashion. Push with your palms into the back of your head and resist. Find your stretch here, maybe gently rocking the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet. Keep pushing with your palms into the back of your head. Keep resisting with your head. Make the elbows nice and heavy to the floor. And then soften through the knees. Let go of the arms. Think Chandra Uttanasana. Soft forward fold. And then ragdoll style, sway side to side. Arms are long and dangly at your side. Just enjoy it. Then peel up along the center. Big breath in as you float the hands overhead. Exhale as you come down. Chest to knees. Let's do that 3 more times. Find a rhythm of your own. Big breath in. Let go and surrender as you come down. Use a nice audible breath pattern. Peel up along the center line and take a big step back with your left leg, setting up almost a soft lunge line on your legs. And you can tuck the back toe under so that both of your feet are looking to the front of your mat. Bring your hands into active prayer, pushing into the palms, elbows out to the side of the room. Find your lunge line here. And then we're going to play with a little bit of dynamic movement. From here, you're going to lunge forward. Think warrior 3, but then drop your left hand to the floor and come up into a twisted half moon, floating the left leg behind you. Then start playing dynamically between this half moon twist and your original lunge line, coming back with your hands in prayer. Maybe pausing in each pose for 4 or 5 seconds before you float to the other. Looking not only for a soft rhythm, but that balance and that control as you find first the lunge line, pushing back into the back heel, and then launching all the weight into the front leg as you kick off the back leg. Let's do one more flow, and we'll end back in the lunge line, and we'll take it into a modified rotated side angle. Step back, find your original lunge line, hands in prayer. At any time you can drop to the back knee if you need support. Keeping your hands in prayer, start rotating to the right through the trunk and try to hook the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Hands in prayer. If this feels good, you could perhaps come to a little bind, taking the bottom arm, tucking it through the legs, fingertips as close to the perineum as you can. And then bind the other hand behind your back, maybe trying to bring the hands into a little bear grip. You could use a belt, a strap, or a towel, or just stay in your rotated prayer side angle. Then unbind, start rotating, place the right hand on the inside of the right leg, open up the left arm to the ceiling, or take the bind, dropping the bottom arm through to wrap underneath the legs and taking the bind from the inside this time, dropping as low as you can through the pelvis, almost as if you were listening with your right ear to the mat. Hold. Unbind and push back into child pose from here. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide, arms long and extended in front. Walking the weight back, sinking your bum bones back as far as you can towards your heels. Ease your way from here back into your down dog frame. Morph into your spontaneous dog, taking the movement into your knees and your hips. And then setting up that high lunge line on the left. Stepping forward, push back into the back heel. Make sure that both feet are looking to the front of the mat so that you've rotated, toes are tucked under. Peel up. Find your lunge line with your hands in active prayer, pushing into the palms. Elbows are almost softly deployed out to help you keep your balance. Then push the weight off the back leg. Leaning forward, place the right fingertips on the floor and open up into a soft T-frame on the left, bringing up the back leg into a tabletop line. Ease your way back into your original lunge line, hands in prayer. Use your hands to find your balance. And then push off the back leg, find your rotated half moon. And begin moving dynamically between the two for, let's say, roughly 5 sets. Just find a rhythm of your own. I'm setting a moderate pace. Mix it up. See what works for you today. Keep pushing back into that back leg when you're in the lunge line. Last one. You're going to ease your way back into your prayer lunge. Make sure you're pushing back into that back heel. Then start rotating to the left, trying to hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Hands in prayer, either actively staying here or easing your way into the bind by softening the bottom arm, tucking as much of the arm through, wrapping close to the perineum, and see if you can bind the hands behind your back. Keep pushing back into that back heel. Hold for about roughly 10 counts if you can. And then we'll take the rotation in the opposite direction. Find purchase on the mat first. Rotate, firmly plant the back foot into the mat as if you were coming into a warrior two-like position. Take your front arm, left arm on the inside of the left leg, either opening up into a soft T-frame and holding here, or tucking that bottom arm through, wrapping around your bum, dropping down through the pelvis, and finding the bind from the inside of your legs, maybe using a belt, a strap, or a hand towel if you need to. Hold. And then ease your way from here into child pose. Big toes come together behind you. Knees are softly splayed out. Take a little time out. Forehead softly connected to the mat. Arms long and lengthened. Bum bones nice and heavy towards your heels. Ease your way back to your down dog. Take the movement through your knees and your hips. Let go. We're going to set up a warrior two line on the right from here. Swing through, right leg to the inside of the right leg. Firmly drop the back leg to 90 and windmill your arms open, finding a long lengthened warrior two, maybe creeping the front foot forward as you come into position. And then start gently reaching forwards and backwards, playing with a soft undulating motion through the body. From here, you're going to reverse your warrior. Drop your back hand to your back leg, invert the front palm, bend through the elbow, frame your head, reach overhead, maybe looking up towards the palm. Back hand is either resting on your thigh or wrapped around, holding onto the inner thigh of the back leg. Then float both hands behind your back as you bring the trunk back up to neutral. Interlace the hands behind your back and fold forward into humble warrior. Hands are interlaced and fisted behind your back, and you're dropping the crown of your head as close to the inside of the lead leg as you can manage. Push back into the back leg as you peel up and come into an arching warrior, dropping the fist down between your bum cheek, arcing through the spine and gently peeking up to the ceiling, thinking of floating your two shoulder blades and the elbows together behind your back. Uninterlace, drop the right arm and hand to the inside of the right foot and float the left arm overhead, bringing the arm as close towards your ear as you can and reaching with your fingertips as if you wanted to tap the wall in front of you. Maybe gently looking and letting your gaze follow those fingertips. Hold your extended side angle. From here, we're going to ease our way into a modified high lizard line on the mat. Rotate through the trunk, bringing both hands to the inside of your right foot. Tuck the back toe under and push the weight back. Bring the front foot out to 45, knife edge it. Readjust your hands if you need to, and then push back into the back heel. If you want to, you can play with that weight placement back and forth, pushing weight back into the back heel and feel that beautiful opening. Make sure that you've knife edged the front foot and that you're pushing the knee open and away from you. From here, ease your way into a plank line. Look through your hands and check that your feet are more or less hip width distance apart. Flip to the right, either knife edging your feet one on top of the other or stacking the top leg on the bottom leg and float the top arm up to the ceiling. If this feels good, trying to come into a half lotus bind, taking the left heel, bringing it as close to the inside of the right hip as you can, pushing the foot into the leg, resisting so that the leg stays locked in position. If you find that your pants are too slippery, maybe bringing it into a half tree line or just holding onto the foot as you find the half lotus line, maybe keeping your hand there. Play with it. Try to hold it for a few seconds if you can. Don't collapse through the bottom arm and hip, so keep piking your hips up nice and high towards the ceiling. Ease your way from here into child pose. Big toes together, knees open, nice and wide. Push back. If you're feeling the wrists, maybe bringing the arms off the mat and just giving me a soft rotational release into the wrist. Think Bollywood, yeah? All right. From here, you're going to find your way back into spontaneous dog. Release through the knees and the hips. Let it go. You're going to find your warrior two line on the left, yeah? Step through. Plant the back leg firmly to 90. Push back into the back leg as you windmill the arms open. Find your frame first, and then start playing with it. Reach forwards and backwards, almost as if you had somebody standing in front of you and behind, and they were seesawing you back and forth. Somebody pulling you back and then somebody pulling you forward. Use this soft undulating motion to set up your reverse warrior, dropping your back hand to your back leg, inverting the front hand, wrapping around, softening through the elbow, and peeking up towards that palm as you find your reverse warrior two. Parivritta Virabhadrasana 2. Then interlace the hands behind your back as you peel the spine into neutral and fold forward as if you were taking a bow into humble warrior. Don't lean all of the weight forward. Keep anchoring or pushing back through the back leg. Pause here for a beat. Getting a nice bit of inversion. Reversing the blood flow in your head. Push back into the back leg. Coming into arching warrior, dropping that fist down between your bum cheek, arcing slightly through the spine, looking up to the ceiling, fisting the hands behind your back. Then uninterlace the hands, firmly plant the left palm on the inside of the left foot, sweeping the other arm overhead to reach with your fingertips for the wall in front of you. Hold for a few breaths. Keep anchoring through the back leg. So make sure you've got your back foot firmly planted into the mat and that the toes are not coming up off the mat. Start rotating through the trunk. Take your front foot out to 45, knife edging the foot. Find a soft high lizard line. Maybe dragging the weight back and forth into that back foot, opening up gently and progressively through the groin. Keep pushing the mat strongly away, so nice and strong through the shoulders and the core. We're going to set up our side plank from here, so my back is going to be towards you. Pick your poison and find the leg line that works for you. Check that your feet are more or less hip width distance apart. As you flip to the left, either knife edging your feet and stacking one in front of the other, or stacking the top leg on the bottom leg, finding your nice high frame, seeing if you can bend the top leg and tuck that foot into a half lotus line, or maybe a half tree line. If you can, finding the line and then floating your arms up into T, or keep holding onto the foot if you find that your pants are too slippery and that foot keeps shooting away from you. Keep your hips piked up nice and high to the ceiling. And then ease your way from here into child pose. One last time. Find your extended stretch here. Walk your hands back. If you're feeling the wrists, release them. We're going to find our way from here into a seated frame. Maybe coming into a relaxed dog, hopping forward, crossing the feet behind you, and finding your way into head to knee. Extend the right leg long and lengthened in front of you. Bend the left knee and place the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right leg. You're going to sit up nice and tall. Interlace the hands, invert them, float them overhead, taking a big breath in. And on an exhale, you're going to fold forward, trying to hook your hands around the foot and pull in. If this is not achievable for you, maybe reaching for a block, using the block to hook around your feet, and then pull the block in and resist with your foot. If that's not possible, maybe just placing the block on the inside of the legs, finding a comfortable stack position, or reaching for a strap, a hand towel, or a belt, and just looping it around the foot and finding a nice grip position. Find your modified Janusasana, make your chest nice and heavy to the top of your thighs, and try to relax that little tension spot behind the lead knee. Inhale to peel back up, extend both legs out in front of you, shake them out if you need to, interlace the hands, invert them, float them overhead, and on an exhale, fold forward, trying to hook over both legs. Allow the elbows to track out towards the side of the room, and think nose to knee, or reach for your block. Tuck it behind both feet, pull the block in and resist, or take the block, place it between the two calves, finding a comfortable lean-in position, or using your strap. Experiment, pick your poison, and commit. Peel back up along the center line and float your hands behind your hips, bending the knees, connecting the soles of the feet in a butterfly position, and butt creep towards your heels, gently rocking the weight side to side. Hold firm, squeezing the two shoulder blades together, floating your chest up towards the ceiling. You're going to find your head to knee, Janusasana, on the opposite side. Extend the left leg away, keeping the right leg bent, and finding purchase on the inside of the left foot. Interlace your hands, invert them, float them overhead, taking a nice little stretch up to the sky to prepare. On an exhale, fold forward, trying to hook around the foot. Pull in with the back of your hands into the foot. Think nose to knee or forehead to knee as you find your modification. Keep pulling the belly button softly into center. Keep making the chest nice and heavy to the top of that lead thigh. Then gently peel up along the center line. Extend both legs long and lengthened in front of you. Maybe just taking a little pedal out first to prepare. Find a nice high seat in Dandasana, staff pose. Interlace your hands, invert them, float them overhead. On an exhale, fold forward, trying to hook around the feet, using your modification if you need to. Find your modified Paschimottanasana and fold forward, trying to connect your forehead or nose to knee. Play where you're at, so don't force the stretch. Just try to soften, relax, and release into the stretch. Think of this whole lower back and sacrum area becoming deliciously long and lengthened as you find your forward fold. Peel up along the center line and find your way into butterfly, Baddha Konasana. Butt creeping forward as you gently sway the weight side to side, looking for those little tension spots in the bottom and trying to massage them out. From here, we're going to ease our way into a kneeling frame, or you could come to a cross-legged Sukhasana, easy sit if you prefer. Maybe sweeping the legs underneath you, coming into Thunderbolt with the knees together and the feet together, sitting back. If this feels uncomfortable, maybe opening up the knees a little bit wider, reach for your block, feed it through, and find a comfortable sit position using your block as a pillow between your two thighs. Experiment, find your seat. Sit up nice and tall. So there's a little tilt of your pubic bone towards the 12 o'clock position, core is softly braced, and you're trying to lengthen through the spine. Interlace the hands, so you almost zip lock them into position, and then take that basket and push with both palms onto your forehead and resist with the head. So you're pushing back with the hands and you're pushing forward with the head. Elbows are nice and high, and you're giving me a little oppositional stretch. Big breath in, relax. Exhale, push and resist. Inhale to soften. Exhale to push and resist. One more time. Inhale to soften and relax. Exhale to push and resist. Then take your interlaced hands and feed them behind your head. So they're more or less in the nape of your neck in a surrender-like fashion. Push forward with the palms and push back with your head so that you're finding that oppositional stretch. Elbows are nice and wide. And then you're going to play with that movement dynamically. So inhaling to soften and relax the stretch. Exhale to push and resist. Keep that little tuck of your tailbone, belly button pulled in. Let's do 2 more rounds. Last one. Keep that stretch active, so keep pushing forwards with the palms and pushing back with the head. And then make your left elbow heavy to the floor and hold that stretch, trying to open up through the rib cage on the right. The stretch stays active, so the whole time you're pushing forward with the back of your hands and you're resisting with the back of your head. Inhale, bring it back to center, and exhale as you make the right elbow heavy to the floor. Keep pushing forward with the palms and keep pushing back with the head. Inhale and come back to center. Drop the arms long and heavy at your side, and just give me 3 shrugs and releases through the shoulders, moving in one direction for 3 cycles, and then mixing it up and taking it in the opposite direction. Sitting up nice and tall, float your hands into Lotus Mudra in front of your chest by bringing the 2 thumbs together, the 2 pinkies together, and opening up your fingertips so that your hands almost resemble an open lotus bloom. Find placement in front of your heart center, your Anahata chakra, and remember the intention that we set at the beginning of the class. Maybe closing your eyes if you need to, taking your focus in. Remember that intention that we set to find one thing that's niggling, that's hurting, and letting it go. Let go of what no longer serves you. Pretend that whatever that niggling thing is inside your little lotus bloom between the 2 palms. You're holding onto it securely. And then you're raising it overhead, surrendering it and releasing it to the universe. Let go of what no longer serves you. Hands together in prayer. End of your practice. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Remember to give me a thumbs up, shoot me your comments and your feedback, and remember to subscribe with your notifications on. I shall see you for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.